Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our Thursday evening study group. Today is April 18th, 2024. This is our 116th study group. Today we are going to interview Hugo Zampieri. He's going to talk about understanding nearshore development means when it makes development manpower decisions. Our chapter is a global chapter. We have members from all over the world, and we welcome you. If you do not have an IIBA chapter home, you can join our family. We have some unique things. For instance, we do not charge money for anything. If you want to join our study groups, if you want to join our chapter, if you want mentoring, whatever you need, we're here to help you. That's our job. We've given you several ways to join us. This is, again, our Thursday night study group every Thursday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We have LinkedIn groups. We have meetups. This is our Zoom online. It's the same address every week. We have study group materials, which are things like people that are working for their CBAP certification have created study group study materials, and they've donated it to our Google Drive, and we appreciate that. We also have over 100 meetings recorded on YouTube. These are meetings that are professional meetings, talking to professionals. These are meetings that are practice test questions for the CBAP, the ECBA, and the CCBA, so that we have at least 4 hours for every single chapter in the BABOK, as well as our IIBA website. Watermark Learning has given us a discount code on any of their products. They are an Educate 360 brand, which means they have a lot of different products now. The discount code is Tampa Space 21, which will give you 20% off on any of your purchases. We are a volunteer-led organization. You can see pictures of Cliff, Yulia, Vivian, Uche, Alicia, and Esther there. Cliff is our president. Yulia is our vice president of finance, and the rest of those folks are very valuable to us, and they are our board members at large. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the vice president of career and professional development for the Tampa Bay chapter. If you need something, if you need user stories reviewed, if you need mentoring, whatever you need, contact me. I'll do what I can to help you. LinkedIn is my avenue of choice. We do have study group advisors. Bob Churchill is in residence tonight. He has earned his CBAP. Yulia and Uche are also our study group advisors. I don't know if either one of them have joined us tonight, but because at least one CBAP has joined us, this means you get an hour of education credit for our meeting tonight. So thank you very much, Bob. We like to celebrate our wins. These folks have contacted us and said that because they participated in our chapter in some way, they were able to pass their certifications, and we are very excited about that. If we have helped you, whether it's past your certification or anything else, the way we get paid is you telling us that we made a difference in your life. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. We focus on the top 3 certifications for the IIBA. They have 7. The ECBA, the CCBA, and the CBAP are certifications based upon our Business Analysis Book of Knowledge, our BABOK, and they are specifically for business analysis. The other 4 certifications are designed to be taken after you've earned your CBAP, so we focus on the first 3 to get you there. Tonight, we are joined by Hugo Zampieri. Hugo is going to talk about nearshore development. Next week, we have Patty Soltis going to talk about awareness of goals and alignment, specifically getting the executive management to understand what we need and for us to understand the way they think. The week after that, Lynn is going to come talk to us about UX and UI. And now I'm going to turn the screen over to Hugo and let him take it away with nearshore development. There you go, Hugo.
Thank you. Appreciate the invitation. So I hope that everybody can hear me. I know that I have a thick accent, so please don't hesitate to ask me if I pronounce any words that you guys can understand. So I wanted to give a little bit of my background. My name is Hugo, like Tia mentioned. I've been living here in Kansas City for almost 23 years. Coming from Paraguay, a lot of people always ask me where is my accent from. And something cool about Paraguay is if you come from Paraguay, you can study in any school in Kansas and pay tuition in-state tuition. So that's kind of unique. So if you guys ever met a person from Paraguay that went to school to Kansas, they can never lie to you that they pay out of state. So that's something that the state of Kansas help us to grow our professional skills. So something about nearshore, this is the company, my company is called Abstract Technologies, and we are a 6-year-old company in the nearshore services, offering nearshore services, but we have almost 14 years in developing software in another company called Greenlight. So we came through the nearshore processing through our customers that we have done very good job, and they say, hey, since you guys have developed such a good programs for us, software or applications, why you guys don't start to offering us yours and resources? And we say, what is that? And bingo, they help us. So currently we are having, and we have 150 resources located in the US, mostly in the Midwest. And something unique that we have grown from 3 resources to 150 in 6 years. Definitely the pandemic has helped us, and the coronavirus, and when everybody started working remote, and South America exploded for that. We have never advertised our service. We didn't even have a very strong website, no investment in marketing. And the key factor why we kept growing was the customization of resources that we have provided to our customers. So it's kind of unique process how we do, and we compare with the large corporation. So I wanted just to give a little bit of background in the company, and then how we get back into the presentation for the why people are using nearshore in LATAM. So we always compare ourselves with a large corporation. When a large corporation comes, and let's say you are IBM, and they come in and say, I need 30 software developers. And what happened is that those large corporations, they have a bench, and they can provide you resources right away. We can't have a bench, definitely, because it's too expensive to support, but we customize the request of each client. So that's our main differentiation, and that's why people are using us. So that's why I think that it's very important to put up front of the company. Why will you go with a small, medium-sized nearshore company versus a large corporation? And then also the terminology nearshore, you guys, most of you guys, I'm pretty sure that know, but a lot of people don't know, is because of the time zone. Offshore goes to Asia, and nearshore goes to South America. We compare a lot with Asia, and we believe that they have good resources too, but we believe that the time zone and our culture fit, it can be better than them. So talking about a little bit about nearshore in LATAM, we have been growing. The whole LATAM consists almost in more than 20 countries, Central and South America, talking about, and we have been growing almost over 150% since 2022. Something that I like about is that always consistently we've been climbing 20%. And again, the service of nearshore. And then one thing that caught me attention is so many venture capitals, they are investing in LATAM because they are finding those resources, and they start investing for the growth of these careers. Let me see, somebody spoke on the chat. I just wanted to make sure there was no question. My apologies.
It's not for you. It's just for everyone.
No problem. So that's something I wanted to make sure that I see how much US is investing in LATAM, or the companies, to bring those resources to the US because of the lack of the lack of this type of professionals. And another point I wanted to share with you guys is that our workforce is very young. The age population is average of 30 years, so I don't even qualify anymore. I'm 44. And then the US is 40 in the part on the tech side. We see a lot of the middle class growing. We start to see a middle class. So that makes us super happy. Usually in LATAM, we all used to have a middle class, and it's pushing us in that direction. And then also we see a lot of programs, and especially we work with Colombia, Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, part of Costa Rica. And we have interviewed several of our resources in Colombia. How did they speak better English than myself? I came here and studied for 20 years. And they say the government has several programs there. So that's one of the examples how the governments are investing in LATAM. And one thing I wanted to also share is the talent pool. And we can compare the US with Brazil. Some information that we have is that in Brazil, people are and they're graduating around 100K students versus the US is only 50,000. That's information that I have found on my own. And then also the niche technology. We have fintechs, like especially Argentina, we find a lot of research and fintechs, and also the legacy talent. A lot of the companies, they like to see the old technology, I call the legacy talent, that they like to see, and that they don't find that easy here in the US, so they try to shift those type of work to LATAM. Some cool stuff too is like all the main cities in South America, like give an example, like in Brazil, São Paulo, you used to find all these resources. Now, with the internet getting better, all these resources, they are not in those main cities anymore. They can work from small towns, and that is helping a lot of the economies. So in Argentina, we work a lot with our hub in Buenos Aires. In Mexico, we work a lot with Mexico City. And now we can start to look it up. Example, like in Mexico, in Sonora, we have a hub. So people are start working from them. So I just wanted to tell you that what I'm sharing here is that not only the main cities that you can find those talents like in the past. And another point, also the investment capital here in LATAM is extremely low in comparison, like we are competitors. We can see just that Israel always invests similar to the US, but Estonia, the Eastern Europe, they are very strong competitors. They have great quality of engineers, but the investment is much higher. And then also I put it China, how they compare with LATAM. So it's so much potential for growth. And it makes me very proud, the unicorns companies that we have found in LATAM in 2017, and we only founded 2. And now in 2022, we have over 20. I believe that it's gonna keep growing as more capital ventures that are investing in LATAM. And that's telling you that it's working. So the only reason that we see that growth is because of the return on investment that these companies on investment and banking, they are getting from us. This point here is one of my main one, and why people choose resources in LATAM versus in Asia is because I believe it's always because of the soft skills. Also that the soft skill, always I ask the client why you are switching from there to here. And a lot of those clients that we have 9 current clients right now, we have 150 research. They told me the communication and the culture is a much better fit for the US than the Asia. I don't say that Asia is not a good fit. I just say I'm sharing what I'm learning from my current clients. And then why people are, and another point I wanted to bring is why companies that are choosing companies like mine to bring these resources in the state and then not going directly. Because everybody say, hey, why you're just going, still and going through abstract technologies, why you don't just go and hire Hugo or Mary directly? It's not that easy like people think. We have over 20 countries, different taxes, also finding the people. Really, a lot of the people, and they are not LinkedIn or Indeed, Glassdoor. So that's where we bring that benefit. Also, we work with Costa Rica. I always say that Costa Rica is the most relaxed country in Central America, but even as always we say South America, by Central America. And finding them is very complicated if you don't have a HR in the ground there. Finally, I just wanted to retouch is that our workforce is very young and eager. Something that I wanted to add with that is the loyalty that we have. Our dream is to work for a US company. Once that these resources start working for your company, the turnover turns to be almost near to 0. We do have a small amount and less than 3% turnover, but the dream here for these people is to stay for a long period of time with a US entity. Also, the talent, the large talent pool that we come, we almost 20 countries, we have a database of almost 900,000 tech professionals that we can contact them for a possibility to work with a new US client. And finally, I wanted just to share some of them, like an example how we help companies save money. Example, and Pablo, we have worked and we are charging him $42 for the company and for a Jupyter network engineer. And usually it would be around $80,000 per year. And the company, a similar type of research in the US, it will cost around 150. So we can see that drastically is a lot substantial saving. And also, most of these resources, the majority, not most, the majority of the resources that we work, they are seniors, US clients experience, so to avoid the turnover there. Another, Esteban, that is a good friend of mine, that he even went to Purdue and then went back to Paraguay. Our rate for Esteban is around $30 per hour. And in the US, well, with the total salary, it will be around 58 per year, but in the US, it will cost him at least $100,000 with benefits. And finally, I wanted to talk about Jasmine, and because 70% of our resources, they are tech driven, and the other 30%, we also do medical billing, customer support, that we provide those type of resources, even and doctor's coder. So with a 10-year experience, we are charging and we are providing to a client for $20, and she will cost around $40,000 a year. And if they hire here in Kansas, they were looking to pay around 60, even plus benefits. So it's substantially saving. Here, my point is that a lot of the companies that they're investing to nearshore, they see the savings, and then also they see that the resource come with the experience and the same or higher productivity than a person in the US. Not, again, this is, we always try with the clients to have all the managers and CTOs located in the US, and then all the people reporting to them in LATAM. Thank you very much. And if you guys have any questions, please, I'm here to answer.
Well, I have questions, so I'm going to go ahead and ask them and let everybody else chime in. Let's just be clear so that everyone knows what nearshore development is. So onshore development is development here in the United States. Offshore means development for people being done from people over in India and Asia. And then nearshore is South America. Is that correct, Hugo?
100%, yes.
Okay. So I've worked with some folks in Colombia, and what I adored is that you're right. They're very eager. They're very skilled, and they're on the same time zone. And it's not difficult to explain concepts to them because their language and culture are so similar to ours. I've worked with people that are in India and other countries, and totally different. I mean, like opposite time zone almost. And sometimes the concepts got mangled. You know, I'd give them user stories and they wouldn't understand what I wanted. And it wasn't difficult user stories, in my opinion, but it was difficult for them. I'm hearing that from most people. And that's one reason I wanted you to come on, because we need to know, if we are talking nearshore development, what kind of skills are we asking for? What kind of skills do your folks bring?
So that's a great question, Thea. As a staff augmentation company, I always, when I meet new clients, they come and say, where do you guys are your expertise? Definitely, our expertise is very wide because we have a large database of possible candidates. So we have clients that they work in the financial and the fintech side. We have startups that they are working in the educational industry. We work also in the healthcare industry. So the main, what we ask the client is to provide the job description that they are looking to fill. And then, since we don't have a bench, we will share with them a customized resource that they can interview from that point. So it's not a fear of, no, Hugo is going to bring me Thea that only has this type of experience, but I needed this. So then we involve the client to interview the resources before moving forward. Make sense?
It does. So you talked about industries. So let's talk about skills, though. What languages or APIs or platforms do you use? It sounds like you have everything.
Yes, and that's why it sounds a little bit too general, because remember, we are a staff augmentation. So currently, so when we're working with this industry line, this healthcare and the finance, and also in the educational, so every different type of skills that they're requesting, they are not similar. So that's when we new customers they come, or new prospect clients they come, is they are afraid that we will not be able to provide that specific type of resource. But once that we show them that we don't have a bench again, and we have a database of over 900,000 people behind, then they feel a little bit more comfortable. And then also at the same time, they are going to be interviewing them after we vetted them that they are the possible good candidate.
Okay. Do they participate in the Agile stand-up ceremonies, you know, the retrospectives and things like that? Or do they just do development?
No, and we have a few Scrum Masters that they work with us, that, well, they work with the clients. Remember, again, we don't manage these people. The clients will be managed. And then the majorities are in the developing side too.
Okay, so your developers will participate in the Agile ceremonies?
Definitely, yes. With the clients, yes.
Okay. Can you give us some examples of projects that we can look at for nearshore?
And the latest project I'm working right now is in Kansas City. It's a large corporation. It calls Sun Orthopedics. So we are building, and first of all, we have several resources in that office, and we are building a city. They requested to build a Salesforce for their patients, and a type of application that they can be able to provide to customer service, their customer service, to provide all the information of their patients. So we are building, and those resources are building up. Again, I don't want it to get too much in depth in that area, is because once that we provide the resource, they are into there. We don't manage that. So that's why I don't want it to create confusion that if a client come and say, I need this Angular developer, that I'm going to be managing them. No, we are a staff augmentation company there.
Okay, very good. What other questions? Oh, Jillian has a question. Have you ever worked with Appian software? APPIAN?
And Julian, thank you for the question. I have not directly worked with that, but again, I don't want it to say that we cannot find that type of resource. So I don't want it to create concern that, hey, and I need an Appian software developer, doesn't mean that I cannot find it. So if you ever need it, I just wanted to ask, is you provide the information, and then we provide you the possible resume. No worries. I just wanted to clarify that, even that you are just curious. No worries.
Okay, you said you had, what was it, 900,000 people?
Yes, we had the 900,000. How we came with that information, am I right? Because it's several countries. It's a very large group that we work with Brazil. We also work with Argentina. We also work with Paraguay, of course, where is our main office. We also work with Colombia and Costa Rica. We have small hubs when I say small hubs, that a few resources from Mexico and also a few resources from Chile. So when we come with this data, how we come with all 900,000 is once that we start to go like on LinkedIn, how we can absorb all those resources that are on LinkedIn. But also we have other places locally that they provide us possible candidates. So that's why I say it's not hard for us to find a perfect match, but it takes time. That's the truth.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is the skill level is very similar to the United States. The time zone is very similar to the United States. The cultural fit is very similar, but the price is a third less.
At least a third, yeah, at least 30% cheaper. Yes, without a doubt. And that's, we are speaking in the senior category. We try to only deal with senior because of the lower turnover. But if you look it up on the junior side, we can look it up at least of 50% of savings.
That's a pretty impressive savings whenever you look at the bottom line for projects.
Correct, but you come with turnovers there and time for training, and a little bit of that is something that costs you money, time and turnover.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, team. What other questions do we have for Hugo? Okay. Has anybody worked with nearshore development or offshore development?
Yeah, I've actually worked heavily with nearshore and offshore. The the core of the experience, or the core of that experience, especially when it comes to getting the right type of resources, or being able to be hired as a business analyst. As a BA, there's a variety of things that they ask of you. And one of the things is, how do you get your resume shortlisted, and how do you make sure that there's no there's that the manager actually picks your resume, and they actually pick your resume on is it ATS, or some sort of but how do we stand out as BAs?
So I just wanted to make sure that I understood your question, and I apologize if I did understand. So
No.
how do we select the candidates? How do we find the candidates? Is that question, like, who interviews the candidates? I just wanted to make sure that I'm going
Like a resume shortlisting.
Will you mind to be more specific, because I didn't understand that part, the resume shortly?
Meaning, say you're a business analyst with 7 years, and you send your resume into the recruiter. The recruiter then sends it to the hiring manager. To the hiring manager, and how do you sort of get your resume shortlisted there?
Okay, I understand, and thank you for the explanation.
Thank
So
you, sir.
nobody sends us resume to us, we find them. And so that's the major 95% of the case, 5% of recommendation. Then with our current resources, they say, hey, Hugo might be able to work good as a salesperson, we recommend. But it's very, since we are customized, we always need to look for them and find them. So let's just say that you want to be a 7-year experience in a specific type of application. So then we go in our database, like I'll give you an example. If you have a sales navigator on the recruiting side, you will get those type of people that they have the information on their profile. And then you start to contact them to see if they can be a good match. So the HR is going to be doing all that part.
Oh, excellent. So then, how do we get, should we just send it directly, our resume directly to you?
Yeah, you can. Well, again, if you wanted that we provide and that we take your resume for a possible position, yes, you can send it to us. We put in our database, and we have a small database system, but it's not that easy, because what I say is the chances that we can use you for the customer, it need to be a very perfect match for them to interview. That makes sense. So that's why it's a little bit. It can be a little bit. We don't. It can be a little bit complicated for us to find your job. Makes sense, because we depend on the client. And since, like at the beginning of the presentation, say that we have around 9 clients. So if those clients, they don't need that type of BA experience that you're looking for, it's very complicated. Makes sense. It's easy for us. It's easier to find them, to find the resource, then the resource find us. Does it make sense? I don't want it to confuse you.
No. I was a little distracted there. Sorry, but the resource finds us, essentially. Thank you so much for that. The resource finds us.
Well, what I mean is that the resource, no, we find the resource for the clients, am I right? But it's so hard for us if the research, let's say that you are looking for a specific work, for us to find you a job is very complicated for us because it's the process that we go and with the small amount of clients that we have, and their requests are very unique. So it's such a wide open, field, and it's every client has with such a unique request. Makes sense? Now, if I was a large corporation of nearshore, then yes, it would be easy because they have like 100 customers or 200 customers, and they say, well, we have a lot of customers that they specify only in BA, so then you can become one of them on their bench. Make sense?
So then, basically, you would work with a variety of different types of BAs, especially in terms of because what we want to do is move the field ahead, or what I'm trying to do is move the field as a business analyst all together ahead, like any business analyst may be. So there's definitely would love to get in touch based on your contact there as well. Thank you so much again.
Definitely appreciate. And then also, if I have not answered you correctly, please let's get in touch together, and I can bring other members on my team in case they can get a better answer for you. It's not a
I
problem.
appreciate that. No, I 100% appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cheers. I know that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My apologies, Tia.
It's okay, Hugo. If you can put your website in the chat, that's been requested.
Correct.
What are the cons of nearshore outsourcing, or what are the challenges you face?
One of the challenges that I face as a company is that a lot of the clients that we are, once that they start hiring and our resources that they go through us, they want these resources to be direct at one point. And so we offer that, and after 24 months, we offer that the resource can go directly with them. But the misconception here is that the clients, they always think that this resource can go to the US, and unfortunately, they never can go. That is the one main and misunderstanding for them, and then something that it crashed at one point. It can create a little bit issues. Another problem and some issues that we have run in the past, signs and the resources that are not being hired directly on the main hubs like Brazil, like Sao Paulo, that are working in small cities. Sometimes the internet can be a little bit vulnerable, and we have run into those issues. But again, and those are hiccups that they can be fixed very easy, but some clients, they don't like that part. And then finally, go ahead, Tia, because probably you have those issues too. So I'm guessing because
I've had those issues with my nearshore partners. And what I was thinking is, if we actually documented exactly the real data of when they were down versus when I was down, it might be that I was down more than them. And I'm not nearshore. I'm here in the US. But if you have real data, you can make decisions. But if you just do it by gut feeling, it's like not good decisions. So you might consider document real data for everybody onshore and offshore, and see what the real story is.
Great point. And the part is that we sign on our contract, once that the resource go to the clients, we cannot get involved because of privacy. So right. Only we know when the client tells us, man, we love Hugo, but his internet was down in this meeting and we needed him. Makes sense? So that's why the only reason that I can provide that feedback for Roshi. And so I just wanted to make sure that. And then and we have not have other cons. I didn't see any cons anymore than those that are part of negative. The positive is that I see, and I always ask the clients, because I wanted to keep learning, is the loyalty. And I'm not trying to say or and say that we are higher and the production is higher in Latam. It's just that they will do whatever it takes. So for a long-term partnership, that's the truth. So that is the something that is very unique. And then they think that we are more that we are more productive, but it's not. It's like we don't want to lose that job ever. The dream is there.
You know, there's a lot of motivation there.
And then I have another question. Go ahead. And I have a question here. If our company is registered in the US, 100% yes. That's the only way that we can do business, because the US clients, they pay us here. We have a company registered in Las Vegas, and we provide the link on the website. And we have, that's how you do the contract in the US, because we are in the US territory, and then we follow the US rules, because the main concern for companies always is data breach and privacy. How do they? We don't know that this resource is not going to steal our information and then go sell, or crazy things happen. So I will just get ahead of the game. Is that I have my largest customer is a Census. It has 9,000 employees, and they have around 35 resources. And so a lot of the resources that are located in Paraguay, in Colombia, they block all their IPs from those countries. They send their own equipment, because we also provide equipment, but they send their own equipment, so they need to use their own application. So from that point, they restrict any data loss, because that's a main concern. That's we found out. Everybody's so concerned. And I understand. It makes sense, 100%. So, and we are very lucky, because I will not say less lucky, because science, we have never have an issue in that case yet.
That's very good. That's very good. What other questions do we have, folks?
Yeah, I've actually been on several projects where that is a huge issue. So right now, I've got multiple laptops in my office, and each laptop might be set up for a particular client for that very reason. Even my employer's laptop is not allowed to do work for a certain client. They send us a laptop so that it has their credentials on it. Data never leaves their environment. So that's an issue we run into a lot. Nearshore, offshore. We've even had to stop doing some offshore for certain clients just because the data is not allowed to be there.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or experience?
And just trying to get my website here. Oops, sorry.
If you want to share your screen and show us your website, that'd be fine.
Yeah, no worries. I will do it. It's, for some reason, I'm having a little bit issue here, but it's no problem. Any other question? I just want and providing
Does anyone
you guys
else have experience with nearshore or offshore that you'd like to talk about?
Sorry, we mind to repeat it, and I didn't hear you.
I just asked if anyone else had experience with nearshore or offshore. Sometimes the offshore experience has been great, and sometimes my offshore experience has been agonizing. And part of it is a culture thing. Part of it is the time zone. And so nearshore was a breath of fresh air for me whenever I got to work with folks from Colombia. And I want you to know they became friends. I mean, it was a delightful combination, and it wasn't with Hugo's company, but it just happened to be nearshore. And so whenever I met Hugo online, it was like, wait a minute, people need to understand what nearshore is.
I work
and
with.
I wanted to go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. My
Hugo.
apologies.
No, not at all. I work with a team of QA leads, both from China, France, Italy, Spain, Russia. Like when back when they had businesses in Russia. Now some businesses don't operate out of those countries. So like there was like a more spread out nearshore offshore experience that I had, which was, you know, with the BA teams and the BA teams here, the QA teams there, both the BAs, the QAs, the BAs, the QAs, and the development team, which were all literally in a Scrum meeting, which began at France at 8 o'clock in the morning, like in Paris. So that was, you know, really unique situation, working with a lot of nearshore and offshore experience. That was good. We're good working with a global team.
Yes, and I will add this, even the Asia are my competitors, they can provide great talent too. So I'm not against anyone. I think the market is huge. I really believe that LATAM took a massive explosion in growth, I would say, is thanks of coronavirus. So from that point, they start to see is so much that they can do in LATAM because of the time zone. And I believe the cultural fit was in another major impact. But again, I'm not against, because I believe that if my boss even hears it, one of my partners hear me, what I say, you have great resources also in Eastern Europe. So they're fantastic. They're born with a computer. So I always say they're the best, but the cost is a different cost, a different time zone, and everything is a little bit different. So
I've always found, especially with like India resources, setting up exact requirements, setting up an exact everyday meeting, going over those requirements is just absolutely necessary. And I would assume that onshore is very similar, but you know, you have to be very descriptive of what you want. And the advantages is, at least with India resources, you could wake up in the morning, have a quick meeting, they work throughout the night or your night, and you hopefully wake up the next morning with work done. That's in the ideal world. That's what we tried to do.
That is ideal. It doesn't always happen, but you know.
No.
We can.
But it's to try and get that 24 cycle going. So, you know, you meet with them in the morning or late at night, and they're starting their day. You give them the task, and hopefully by the time you wake up in the morning, those tasks are complete, and you can continue.
My challenge with offshore. Go ahead, Andrea.
Oh, I was just gonna make a small comment here from New Zealand. Our nearshore is Asia, and it's the opposite around, but actually we are far away from everybody. So it's always we don't really have a nearshore that could be much cheaper labor. Like even Australia, we have 2 hours difference, and it's pretty much more expensive than probably what would be cost here in New Zealand. So it's quite a different experience. We do have I have dealt with a couple of providers. We have Accenture as a provider, and some of their employees are working from Argentina, and it's they are working usually in New Zealand time to meet our needs. So that's really interesting. We also have currently a permanent staff member that is working from Paris, and she's doing crazy hours. So sometimes, yeah, I can see it's a great niche market. Hugo, well, not niche probably, but it's a great market and a great business that you have in there with nearshore, especially for the resources that you can get from Latin America. So, yeah,
definitely. And Andrea, I just wanted to share with you this, and my nearshore will be offshore for you because of your time zone from New Zealand to LATAM. So your nearshore will be Asia, like Philippines that you were mentioning, and all that area. So it's kind of interesting that they're using Argentina as an offshore, so they can, during the night, these resources can be working. Exactly like also, we were mentioning before that the people in India that they work during when we are sleeping. So when you wake up, you have these projects. So it's kind of we are going through the same process with the Argentinian people.
Yeah, well, we do have quite a lot of help desks and things, services like that they are linked to Asia countries. So there's a lot of Singapore and India. But yeah, there's one particular provider that we have a couple of experts in the field using a product that we're using as SAP. Especially coming from Argentina, which is quite interesting because they're completely time zone. So it's a little bit of a nightmare sometimes to coordinate meetings. But yeah, really interesting conversation today. Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you, Andrea. One of my challenges in working with offshore talent is getting on at 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night in the central time zone. Maybe 10 o'clock, so that it's the beginning of their day and, beginning implementation or something like that. If you're doing implementation, it has to be outside of your business hours. You can do it in both offshore or nearshore and let them manage it for you. But what I've discovered is I don't enjoy getting on at 9:30 at night and having a business meeting.
Oh, come on.
I know. I mean, I do it whenever I need to, but having nearshore, they're almost our time zone. I think Colombia was 1 hour off for me, so it was very convenient, and there was no language barrier at all. I mean, even with accents, we're all speaking English, but it doesn't feel like English sometimes. And I do the best I can, but sometimes I'd have to say, could you text me? I'm having trouble with Teams because I did not understand what they were trying to say. I have not had that problem with nearshore development at all. Hugo, are you ready to show us your website?
Yes, I did here. Can everybody see it? I did share my website and also my email in case if they have more questions.
There it is. It's in chat.
Yes, and then
We thought you were going to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, me too.
My apologies. And so, because I believe here, Jillian requested the website there. And then also we are, remember at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned that we have grown the company without such a heavy marketing, or even have a very nice website. Now in 2 months, we will launch a very strong customized website for people and
That's
just
right.
for clients to come and say how we have helped them. That's the main key, the clients, what they are saying about us, because I have seen new clients, they want credibility. Well, prospect clients, they are very afraid. And so sometimes here in the Midwest, especially, they wanted to create credibility. So we are creating a website that they can contact directly the clients in the US, so they can see how we have helped them. And then from them, we can move on if they wanted to continue the process.
Yep, I agree. Okay, folks, do we have any last questions for Hugo? Is anyone considering nearshore development that hadn't considered it before? Okay, well, Hugo, thank you very much. We're going to switch gears here. If y'all have any questions, you're welcome to contact Hugo directly on LinkedIn. Well, looks like there's another question now. It was thank you. So Hugo is available on LinkedIn. That's how he and I met. Let me switch gears. We have about 10 minutes left. I want to tell y'all, representing our chapter, I've been attending the Building Business Capabilities Conference in Orlando. Had the presentation today. I'll be bringing that presentation to the chapter in just a few weeks. But before we start our practice test questions, and I'll give it to y'all then. But it went over really well. We had a little over 70 people join our presentation, and a lot of people came afterwards and said it was very effective and impactful and would benefit them. So I'm representing our chapter, telling a lot of people about us from all over the world so that they are interested in joining our chapter. Not to take them away from their own chapters, but if they don't have a chapter, we're available and we do good work. Cliff, you're going to see a few more people joining our LinkedIn group. So there's that. We'd like to grow our LinkedIn group to hit 1,000 members. So if y'all haven't joined our LinkedIn group, please do join. Cliff, if you don't mind dropping a link to the LinkedIn group in the chat, if it isn't already in there, because you're so good at dropping things in that
It's
before
in there, but I will do it again. So they don't
Okay.
have to go back up to the top.
The reason that you might want to be a member of our LinkedIn group is Cliff puts out the marketing of this is what we're doing. These are links to training that you can access. And it's not just training that we do. We also put out the training for the Miami chapter, for Apex, and for several other organizations that provide ongoing training. And so he does that on literally a weekly basis. Also, if you see the post that Cliff puts out, if you can like it and comment, it makes other people be able to see it more easily. We do not want your money. We want to be able to raise people up. And if people see what we're putting out, maybe we can help them. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 10 minutes left. We can end the meeting early if we want to. But what I'd like to do is open it up. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Or are you facing any problems that we could talk through?
I just had a quick question. As a BA, right?
Yes.
In Agile, when I was going through the AAC, the Agile Extension, to the Agile Extension certification, as a BA, what does a business analyst do in Agile?
We do everything.
We do everything, right? Like it's like
Yes,
the
do
whole
everything.
see the whole like practice, like the whole things that it's listed in the AAC. But like, is it just, it's not just documentation, it's still a change agent or change providing change, doing like the core diagramming using UML, working with developers, testers, of course. But aside from that, like, are there any other, like, there has to be like any leadership capabilities that BAs do as well, right?
Think of Agile this way. It's just people talking to each other and then acting on the feedback based on what they learn. That's all Agile is. Don't be thrown off by all the technique and the different Scrum, Kanban, all that. At the end of the day, it's just communicate and iterate. That's it. There are contexts where they define a Scrum Master and a product owner, and okay, but those are BA type roles. So a BA is somebody who helps solve the problem and manages requirements, but they can and should be involved in as much of the life cycle as they have the capability to. And really,
Right.
it's all about communication. If you've seen that diagram I have, where I talk about how you iterate within each phase and between all the phases, that's what it's all about. You talk to each other, figure out what you need, and then figure out where you're going wrong and correct. So really the problem Agile was trying to solve was don't think you understand the problem, then go all off and do separate things and come back together and try to build it all. None of the pieces will fit. Right? That's the problem it's trying to solve. And really, a lot of the people who came up with the Agile Manifesto figured this out quite a while ago.
Is it
Right.
verbal, written, or nonverbal communication?
Yes, everything.
Everything.
Everything. So we are the Swiss Army knife, so that if there's a need in the group, if we have bandwidth and we can do it, if we have that skill, we do it. So if they need a scrum master and that's what the team needs, we can step into that role.
Wow.
If we need a product owner and that's what the team needs and we have that ability, we can step into that role. But it's what does the team need in this circumstance, and do you have those skills? I was told a story today about a BA who said, my team wants me to do this, this, and this. Is that my job? And the answer is, if you have the bandwidth and if that's what the team needs, yes, that's your job. Now, you're not expected to do things that are outside of your skill set, so that you don't have to worry about that. But it is our job to help the team achieve its goals. Be sure the team knows what its goals are. We also are the encouragers. We also are the ones that watch for people having trouble to come alongside them. We're a whole bunch of things. But if it's called something else in Agile, it's probably the same thing you're doing now. It just has a different name. So it's like a different language on top of what we already do.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, thank you so much. No, wonderful of you. So then you can, as a BA, if you were to hire BAs, if you're hiring BAs, you can essentially say, can you run the Scrum calls? Can you run can you run the Scrum calls? Can you run the product backlog? Can you take responsibility of, or do you like taking responsibility of other BAs? Like, can you take responsibility of a team? Can you do PERT analysis, come up with a budget? Then yeah, if you
Sure.
do that, then absolutely, then that makes sense instead of just being a technical writer or just like, so the combination of those elements is what why BAs would be important. So I'm sort of getting it. I'm doing the research on core business principles. So it's very like it's very like how is the BA correlated with project success? If I hire BA, will there be greater P&L? Will I, if I hire BA, like will there a profit be greater, and by how much? Can I quantify?
Well, BAs are individuals, so they have to grow into acquiring all these skills over time. So don't mean somebody right out of college with no experience to be a Scrum Master and 5 other things. They have to build up to it. But in the end, what you're trying to accomplish is be able to be the glue that holds the whole process together. The
Amazing.
more you do, the more you can do.
I appreciate
Right.
I appreciate the more you can do, the greater it is. That makes
You're the
sense.
general. Hey.
But
I
here's the deal.
love being in
You,
general.
you've got to do what your team needs. If you're doing something your team doesn't need, it doesn't matter how much value you think it is, it's valueless to your team. So figure out what your team needs to be able to achieve your common goals. And then see, do you have the skills or does somebody else have the skills? Maybe you need somebody else on your team. But what we do is we work to get our team to achieve their goals.
Achieve the goal. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. That was wonderful. Like, yeah, the core thing was memorizing some of the things that they say. You delight the customer. It says delight the customer. If you're going to be a BA, you have to be able to delight the customer. So I'm thinking, how do I delight the customer? Well, all I know is a project manager. My project manager. My project manager is like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And my past project managers also, that there's been extremely great great resources to the organization. And so basically it's like the PM, the BA, the PM and the BA, and it's just that structure of that organization was that the BA was doing validation, UI validation. That was really cool. So can you make the BA look like Tom Cruise? Maybe some BAs, can you make them famous? Like, can they do some acting, or can they do more than one thing? How is that evolving?
Yes.
Our role as BAs evolving as well. So
Okay, so you asked four different questions there. The BA is to the project manager as Robin is to Batman,
oh, nice.
or they are to the project manager as Alfred is to Batman. It depends on what
They're
you need.
Laurel and Hardy. They're co-equals. In Pittsburgh, they have meetings once a year called frenemies, where the project management people meet up with the BA people, and they have a combined meeting with a panel to talk about what they do that's different and what they do that's the same. I will differentiate like this. The project manager is mostly worried about resources, and the business analysts are mostly worried about the details of solving the problem.
Business analysts also focus on the relationships within the team and the stakeholders.
Everybody does that and should do that.
You should.
And
They should.
Agile is some other thing that any Yahoo can do. As long as you talk and communicate and listen and course correct.
Okay. Well, I want to publicly thank Hugo for his time. Hugo, thank you so much for bringing the information to us. Having somebody that understands it deeply is a lot better than those of us who have touched it, you know, and we have an opinion, but we're not educated. So thank you for that. Next week, we're going to talk about how does the executive think and how we can align our goals to their goals so that we can work with them. One of the things I think we're going to get out of that is really understanding how to talk to our executives, understand what's important to them. And so all of us want to be able to eventually either move up into the executive level or at least work with the executives. And whenever you're talking about business strategy, you're going to be working with executives. So we will do that next week. I will be back in Missouri by then. I don't know where y'all will be, but I hope you'll be safe and warm between now and then. See you later, guys. Bye.